All right. Good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Zach Battin for the Bell Park Weather Network. Happy Monday. I wish we were coming on to discuss some better things, but we do want to, break down everything that's going on, let you know what you're going to see, and make sure everyone is, as aware and as prepared as they can be when tomorrow finally rolls around and we see what we're really going to get. But we do have to get through tonight first, as there is a chance for severe storms this evening as well. So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at kind of what's going on out there right now. So you see across most of the state, it's fairly quiet. There are some thunderstorms floating around out there in between kind of Columbus and Mansfield. Some storms rolling into the Fort Wayne area. A thunderstorm watch was just issued not too long ago, and that goes through 3 a.m. So we'll see what they do when 3 a.m. rolls around. If we take a look back to the west, it's pretty active. So there are a couple thunderstorm warnings just west of Indianapolis. This storm in particular, 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind. So you're kind of run-of-the-mill thunderstorm. But back off to the west in Illinois, Missouri, clear down into Oklahoma, there's a whole slew of tornado warnings. There's thunderstorm warnings. Most of these storms have been producing very large hail, very strong winds. The bulk of this system is what's going to produce our weather overnight. So we've had some early development here to the west of Indianapolis and then back into Illinois. Most of this is sub-severe. It's just a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning, things like that. But we do expect this whole cluster to move primarily off to the east-northeast. And as such, the Storm Prediction Center, I'll clear some of this off here real quick. The Storm Prediction Center does have a risk for our area, in particular, really southwest Ohio. That enhanced risk moves into far southwest Ohio for the overnight tonight. So points, really from about Dayton, Cincinnati, Bloomington, Indiana, Indianapolis, over to Chillicothe, Parkersburg. Those are the areas where tonight in particular we expect, I said, that cluster of storms that we've got over here, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, basically to track right along this area. The biggest threat for tonight, we do have the threat for damaging winds, large hail. There still is an isolated tornado chance tonight, so we want everybody to be prepared. It's going to be well after the time most people go to bed. So make sure you have, ways to get warnings when you go to sleep. This isn't the main event, but this still poses a risk on its own. And it's not something we want to, just forget that it exists. So again, this is the area and kind of the storms we're watching here as it gradually moves off to the east. Right now, they've been producing mainly just hail and damaging wind. We haven't seen too much in the way of, any kind of tornado threat yet, but we do have that possibility. The highest possibility is going to be in this orange outlined area here, the enhanced risk. That's level 3 out of 5. So that's kind of the area the Storm Prediction Center has pinpointed as having the best chance, at maybe seeing a brief tornado. And that's mostly the southern end of this line is going to traverse kind of to the south here. And there's actually a warm front, which is this red line that's draped right across this area. And that warm front can act as a focus to kind of enhance the shear and enhance some of that rotation in the atmosphere. So right now where that warm front is, that's kind of why we expect to see, a slightly elevated tornado threat here in far southwest Ohio and southeast Indiana. And real quick, I do see your comments about, your particular area, what's going to happen in my town. At the end here, we will have a, brief Q&A thing. I'll try to answer as many of your questions as I can about your particular location, but understand there's a lot to get to. We want to make sure we cover everything before we get to your specific location. So there will be some time at the end to try to answer as many questions as I can. So we do have a large coverage area. So there's a lot of people from various portions of the state. So we'll try to get to as many people as we can. Just be patient. We'll get there at the end, and I'll go through and start trying to really get as many questions answered as I can. So bear with me, and let's go ahead and get through this. So again, tonight's threat, mainly wind and hail. So be prepared for that. Isolated tornado is possible, but again, tomorrow is the main threat. So let's go ahead and take a look. Here's our threat for tomorrow. So right now, the Storm Prediction Center does have a moderate risk, which is a level 4 out of 5 on their scale for severe weather tomorrow. This includes a very big chunk of the state. So anywhere basically, Findlay over to Akron, down to Cincinnati, Parkersburg. So anywhere in that red shaded area is really, has the highest chance of severe weather tomorrow. But we don't want to forget about everybody else outside of that area as well. The enhanced risk, the level 3 out of 5. So, those are, areas a little bit outside of that moderate, and essentially most of that is based on timing. The western edge of that moderate will likely still be as, the storms are really getting themselves together, they're organizing, and then once you push east into the West Virginia Panhandle and into Pennsylvania, the storms are kind of on their way out. So the northern extent, so, up to areas like Sandusky, Defiance, Toledo, a lot of what you may see tomorrow is going to depend on exactly how far north that warm front lifts. So if we go back to the radar here, this red line right here. So this is where the warm front sits currently. Overnight, and as we go through the day tomorrow, this front is going to lift to the north. Right now, most of our models depict this front stalling out right about US 6 up here in northern Ohio. So everywhere north of that front will likely remain a little bit rainy, much cooler, and more importantly, less overall moisture in the atmosphere. South of that front is where we see the warmer temperatures, we see the better moisture, and as a result, we see the better chance for severe weather. So right now, that's still kind of a big question, is where does that front really stall out? So there will be some changes to the outlook, likely overnight tonight, and then especially as we go through the morning. All of this precipitation that we're expecting tonight, so all of this, as it moves through, it's going to leave behind kind of a worked over atmosphere, and it's going to vacate the area tomorrow morning. So likely around 10 a.m., 11 a.m. or so, most of this will be out of the area. It'll be gone. Won't have to worry about it anymore. A lot of heavy rain at that point, but so that timing and when all of that clears out is kind of needs to be ironed out still, and that will help determine when exactly we'll see the highest severe weather threat tomorrow and where we may see it. Areas that receive more sun, we may end up, with a focus of storms in those areas. Areas that stay mainly cloudy or, don't warm up much, we may see, less of a threat. But all of this is going to kind of be shifting around a little bit as we go through the day tomorrow, and especially through the morning hours. Once we get to about noon or so, more than likely we'll have a pretty good idea of what we're going to be looking at. So again, one more look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for tomorrow before we dive into some other things. Again, the highest threat are going to be the areas in red, but even if you're around that area, you still want to pay attention. Realistically, the entire state of Ohio tomorrow is going to want to pay attention to the weather, whether it be, from a tornado, damaging winds, hail. All of these things can cause damage. They all cause problems. So we want, no matter where you are, to be prepared. So again, tonight, I did see somebody ask about tonight. Tonight, there is a level, really 1, 2, and 3 for different portions of the state. The level 1 here is this darker green. Right in here, we have our level 2. That's the yellow down here. And then we have the 3 that is the orange. So this area is where we're expecting to see the potential for severe weather tonight. Again, the further southwest you go from Springfield, Dayton, down to Cincinnati, those are the areas where we're expecting to see, a little bit higher threat. As all of this activity over here in Illinois and Missouri, all of this will continue to kind of slide east-northeast and work through overnight. And not to be understated, as all of this does roll through, in addition to the severe weather chance, flooding is also a big concern. So we've had a lot of rain the past few days. Ground is pretty saturated. Flooding is definitely going to be a problem. So if you're in a flood-prone area, if you are, somewhere where you live next to a stream, river, whatever the case may be, you're definitely going to want to keep that in mind, as really the entire area is going to see plenty of rain. So real quick, let's go ahead and take a look at some model data and take a look at kind of what we were looking at earlier this evening, and then we have some newer runs that have come in, so we want to take a look at that. So, starting tonight, we jump ahead here. Here we are at 9 o'clock. So you see this particular model. This is the HRRR model. So, scattered showers and storms. It's a pretty decent look at what's going on out there. So as we go through the evening, here we are at midnight. You see a lot of those showers and storms beginning to work in from the west. So again, this is midnight from Wilmington, north of Cincinnati, and then clear back into Indiana. Again, a lot of heavy rain. These storms could be severe, damaging winds, large hail, isolated tornadoes. As we continue through the night, you see that whole system continues to push east. We get potentially some stronger storms. This is 3 a.m. So some stronger storms potentially starting to work in the area. This is why it's going to be very important for you to have ways to get your warnings overnight. As we continue on for 5 a.m., those storms continuing to work through. 6 a.m., you see still a lot of the stronger storms staying just north of the river, around the river, and then back down into southeast Indiana. Heavier rain pretty much everywhere else. As we continue on through the morning, that whole system continues to push off. We see our threat overnight end. Just again, some heavy rain. This particular model run did have some earlier storms firing in the afternoon, which would be interesting to see if those are actually able to develop, if they're able to pose any kind of severe risk, and more importantly, if they kind of work over the atmosphere a little bit. So that's something we're going to be keeping an eye on, whether or not those storms may develop. But as we continue to go through the afternoon, here we are at 3 o'clock. See still potentially some severe storms down there near the river again. We are starting to see some development over here in Indiana. And as we progress through the afternoon, here we are at 5 o'clock. You really start to see those storms in Indiana take shape. Potentially a cell, over in Ohio. It's important to not pay attention to the exact placement of these storms. This is mostly giving us an idea about what may actually develop, but not necessarily where. As we continue on through the afternoon, here we are at 6 o'clock. Still some cells potentially out ahead of the main line. So here we are, central Ohio, up near Findlay, back into Fort Wayne. This line back here coming through Indiana, this is going to be really what we're going to be concerned with the most as we go through the evening. So here we are at 7 o'clock, and this is a very concerning look. So normally what we see around here, we see more, linear portions of storms. So storms that come through as a line, clusters of storms, something like that. So this particular look shows us some pretty decent individual cells. The individual cells are the ones that typically have a much higher tornado risk, as they're not competing with the energy the ingredients needed for the tornadoes. They're not competing with each other. They're simply on their own, able to do their own thing. So again, this is 7 o'clock. Storms approaching the Ohio-Indiana line. As we continue through the evening, those storms just keep right on going. The conditions tomorrow, there's going to be plenty of wind shear. There's going to be moisture, depending on, again, where that warm front ends up. Likely it ends up here somewhere in northern Ohio, which means everywhere south of that should have plenty of moisture. And then we do have instability, which will rely on any sunshine that we can get between the morning round and the afternoon and evening rounds. So this is a model run from this afternoon. So we should have a more recent run. And we'll see how far out. So again, here we are starting this evening. We have our showers and storms that move through overnight. Pretty similar look with the newest model run. Some heavier storms, almost a line of storms, with a lot of heavy rain for the rest of the state, moving through about 7 a.m. Continuing on through the afternoon, here we are, 10 a.m. Some of that rain still working through. 11 a.m. Interesting that this line seems to hold together going into the afternoon. This is noon, so anywhere from Parkersburg down through southern Ohio and into Kentucky. We'll see if that line is able to kind of maintain its strength, or if it's able to, if it fizzles out. That'll be something to watch as we go through early afternoon. Here we are at 1 o'clock, 2, 3. Still some of those early storms that develop kind of before everything else. And as we continue on, this model still is pretty concerning. There's still a lot of individual cells showing up with the most recent runs. It will be interesting to see how maybe some of this lead stuff impacts the individual cells. If this lead wave here around 5 o'clock or so impacts, if that kind of takes over. Still some questions about what exactly is going to take place tomorrow. There's a lot of it will be ironed out in the morning as that first group of overnight storms and morning storms moves through. But the latest look of this particular model does still show a pretty potent picture for tomorrow. This is 7 o'clock, so you see those storms still rolling through. You've got your lead wave over here in eastern Ohio, and then you've got anywhere from really Defiance down to Dayton, Cincinnati, moving through really about the I-75 corridor. So, and at the moment, that is as far as this particular model goes out. So let's real quick take a look at some of the parameters for severe weather tomorrow. So one thing we're going to look at, it's called the significant tornado parameter. Essentially what this is showing us is it takes a combination of ingredients and then it determines how conducive the atmosphere is to tornadoes. So what it doesn't take into account is, are there storms there? Are there not? It's only really taking the conditions of the atmosphere to see if there was a storm, how easily it would be able to, produce a tornado. So again, going through tonight, you see some of those elevated numbers do squeak in around 5, 6, 7 a.m. Again, particularly across southwest Ohio, the Cincinnati area, which is where we did have that enhanced risk. So again, tonight, the tornado risk is not 0, but the damaging wind risk and the hail risk is still the main concern. But tomorrow still is the bigger picture. If we continue on, here we are, 9 a.m. You see, not much going on. So the atmosphere just isn't primed yet by noon to really get things going. Here we are, 1, 2, 3. The atmosphere is really starting to get going. We did have our lead kind of cluster of storms down here in southwest Ohio. So those may be able to become severe. And then as we continue on, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Again, 7 o'clock, we had our line of storms out here, and then we had our cluster over here. So some of these elevated values, we have 8s, 9s, 10s, we've got some 7s. Definitely still plenty of energy to work with in the atmosphere. One thing to point out here is this particular product is going to kind of give us an idea of where that warm front might set up. So this latest run does look like the warm front is a little bit further south. So looks like right near the Findlay area. If that's the case, best severe weather threat would be Findlay south. So that's areas, Findlay kind of over to Mansfield, Akron, Canton, about a line from there south. So interesting trend to keep an eye on. Earlier, that warm front was further north, up near really the Bowling Green area. So ultimately, where that warm front ends up tomorrow will kind of help determine where the biggest risks are. So do want to stress that there are still some questions that we'll have to really wait until tomorrow morning, early afternoon, to be able to answer. But it still does look like, with the latest data that has come in, it does look like the tornado threat is definitely still there. There will be a damaging wind threat, so areas where we may see some of those storms cluster up, a hail and damaging wind threat may also take over. So the discrete cells are the ones we're going to have to really look for, the tornado threat. The clusters of storms would likely still have a tornado threat, but they would also have a much higher damaging wind and hail threat as well. One other thing I want to look at here while we're here is the dew point. So dew point is a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. It's kind of a different way to measure it. But seeing where the higher dew points are, so dew points in the 50s and the 60s, so that kind of shows us where the warm front's at. And right now, we see the higher dew points are still confined really to southern Ohio, and as we saw earlier, that is where our warm front is. As we go through the overnight and into the day tomorrow, you really see those 60s dew points surge into Ohio. This is 3 o'clock, so low to mid 60s dew points in southern Ohio, low 60s, upper 50s as you continue to go north. Realistically, your warm front is probably right in here somewhere. And as we continue through the evening, 4, 5, 6, you get mid 60s dew points for most of the state, which this time of year, it is early April. That's enough to really be able to fuel these storms. So moisture doesn't look like it's going to be too much of a problem this go around. So let's go ahead and open it up to some questions while I go through some graphics here. A lot of you, I've already seen you asking about, my area. What about my town? This map, and something that you should know, something you should be able to do, is look at a map and know where you're at. Even now, and especially tomorrow, once we start doing live coverage, we're not going to be able to answer questions about your specific town. If we have to focus on a tornado warning or a life-threatening situation, that's where we're going to be focused. We're not going to be able to cover every part of the state. We just can't. So it's very important for you to do your part. Be able to look at a map, know what county you're in, know the cities around you, and know the counties that surround your county. That way, hey, a tornado warning gets issued for the county directly to your west. We know the storms typically are going to be moving in general from west to east. If you know the counties around you, that's all the extra warning that you get as a storm is moving your direction. So look at a map, take the time to figure out where you are, and that will really help you be able to prepare for tomorrow. If we move on, a couple things you could do for nighttime tornadoes, and this is more of a kind of a reminder for tonight, especially 3, 4, 5 a.m. or so when tonight's round of storms is moving through. If you don't have a NOAA weather radio, that's okay, but you should definitely get one. Have at least 2, 3 different ways to get warnings, something that's going to wake you up. Okay? Know there's a lot of heavy sleepers out there. You're going to need something to wake you up in case a warning is issued. You're also going to want to be prepared to be able to get out of bed and get to your safe spot quickly. So have the things you would need to take to your safe spot with you. Make sure your cell phone's charged. Make sure you have your alerts on. You've got flashlights. You've got shoes. If you already know where your safe place is, that's great. Maybe go ahead and take, bicycle helmets, blankets, anything you would need to take with you in case a tornado were to hit. It's better to go ahead and have that ready for you now. That way, 3 a.m., you get a tornado warning, you're up, you're out of bed, you're in your safe spot, you're good to go. Tomorrow, when, we get our bit higher threat, it's again important to know where you're going. You want the whole goal is to have as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You want to be the lowest floor of your home, center part of the house. So again, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Basement, again, always best, but we know not everybody has a basement. If you are in a mobile home, you want to know where you're going to go. This one, really important. A lot of fatalities from tornadoes are from folks in mobile homes. You will really, really want to know where to go. So whether that be a friend's house where, they have a basement, they have just somewhere safe you can go. Some communities have a designated safe building. You can go there. You're gonna need to know where to go. That's really, really important. I do see what if you're driving. If you're driving, try to find a sturdy building. If you're on the interstate, try to find an exit with gas station, somewhere you can go inside. A building is always going to be better than your car. If you are in your car, you do get caught outside, you're going to want to stop, pull over. If it's just a hail threat, for the record, if it's a hail threat, don't stop under an overpass. You stop under an overpass, it causes more harm than it does good. You've really got other people driving. If the visibility is low, the other people driving aren't going to be able to see you stopped under the overpass. It can create accidents, and now there's a bunch of people stranded in an area. So you definitely don't want to take shelter under an overpass. It's not really going to protect you if there were a tornado anyway. So your best bet is really, if you are stuck in a car, you really want to pull over. It's really a toss-up. A car is just such a bad place to be. So ideally, you just aren't. You're paying attention. You see the warnings. You have somewhere to go. You have a plan. You can get out of your car, lay in a ditch, lay flat in a ditch. There's been various research over the years of, is it better to stay in your car? Is it better to get out and live in the, lie in the ditch? Ultimately, for tornadoes, it's really a marginal difference on what's going to happen. So we really, really encourage you to just try to not be in a car. know what you're doing, know where to go. Let's see. I did see a question. Bedroom, bathroom, and living rooms, are those safe? It depends on your house. If the bedroom is, on a second story, if it's against an outside wall, it is not safe. The bathroom, in most homes, the bathroom is going to be one of the safest places. It's usually towards the middle of the home. There's a lot of walls between you and the outside. Usually the walls around the bathrooms are a little bit sturdier. So bathroom is usually a good place to go. But if your bathroom is, an outside wall, it's not going to do it for you. Same thing with the living room. If your living room is in a nice, center part of the house, lots of walls between you and the outside, your living room might be okay. Most living rooms are on an outside wall, so most of them are not safe. Stay in the mobile home or in a vehicle if I had to pick. That's a tough one. Mobile homes, the biggest problem with those is, they're not particularly sturdy. So even if you don't get a tornado, it doesn't take really too much in the way of just say like straight line wind to roll your mobile home, which is a problem. So a car is not much better. They're about equally as bad. So if this is why we stress being prepared. Picking a car over a mobile home is not, neither are good options. It's hard to say which is going to be better, but it's just know they're not good options. And if you really need to have a plan to go somewhere else. If you're in an apartment, especially the second floor of an apartment, first floor hallway apartment is probably going to be where you're going to want to go. Apartments are hard to say. There's so many different types of building designs out there. It's really hard to say, without knowing your building, where the safest place is going to be. Like my building, my apartment, the bathroom would actually be a safe place for me. So I'm on the first floor. My bathroom is interior room, plenty of walls between the bathroom and the outside. If you're on third or fourth floor, you get your warnings. You go down to the first floor. Maybe somebody will let you in. It's also worth seeing if your complex has a dedicated place you can go. So it might be worth asking as well. I will recap for those asking. We'll go over timing and things like that here at the end. Mike asks, is it true that a tornado will not jump a river? That is not true. A tornado can cross a river just as easily as it can go up a hill, go through a valley, anything like that. Those are all myths that time and time again have been proven incorrect. So do not think a river is going to stop it. Mountains won't stop one. Don't plan on any really geographic barrier, preventing you from getting hit by a tornado. They can happen anywhere. And there's things like rivers and stuff, don't stop them. So don't bank on that, protecting you. A quick reminder, make sure you charge your devices tonight. If you lose power for a couple days, anything like that. Charge your devices. Have everything ready to go. Make sure you've got ways to communicate if, you are without power for a while. But I did see somebody ask about what makes tomorrow worse than, other things we've seen this year or even recently. Tomorrow is a unique setup where the timing and the ingredients all look to be coming together at once. Normally, we have things like instability or energy in the atmosphere that we're lacking. Or we have the instability, but we don't have the shear in the atmosphere. And the shear is what helps the storms to rotate. Without that, you get, in general, you can still get thunderstorms, but you don't necessarily get tornadoes without that shear. And then you also need something to cause the storms to develop. Sometimes you can have all those ingredients, but you don't have anything to actually start the storm formation. We do have all of that appearing to come together across our area tomorrow. We'll have plenty of energy for the storms to work with. Wind shear is not going to be a problem. The winds, above our heads are going to be very quick. There's going to be some change in direction causing that shear. So this just happens to be a case where everything appears to be coming together pretty much right over top of us tomorrow afternoon. If you do need another way to check the radar, get alerts for your specific address, family's address, anything like that, we do have our Ohio News and Weather app. So you can set however many locations you want. You'll get notifications if rain's approaching. You can get notifications about severe, thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, anything like that. You can check the radar at any time. The radar does have the ability to show you the warnings, so you can get an idea of where the storms are, get an idea of what direction they're heading, and let you know if you really need to be paying attention, which you should. But a little more peace of mind of being able to, at any time you want, check out the app, check out the radar, and see what's going on. Again, the app is just called Ohio News and Weather. You can get it on iPhones, Android devices, anything like that. Someone asking about where they can go to look at the HRRR model themselves. There's several websites out there you can go to. Pivotal Weather is a pretty good one that's fairly easy to use. If you just search Pivotal Weather models, you should be able to find it pretty easy. Let's see. Someone else asked if the sun and humidity is going to fuel these storms tomorrow. If we do see sunshine in the afternoon after the morning round goes through, that will definitely help to fuel these storms, which is kind of what we're looking at. And then again, we do have some more tips to help you be prepared, in case a tornado does happen to kind of roll through your area tomorrow. Again, some safety tips. These are all, you can find all of these online in various areas. Apologies, my dog has decided to make an appearance. Excuse you. Hi. So again, just make sure you're prepared, know where to go, and we'll go ahead and recap the risk for tomorrow. Timing wise, anywhere from about 1 p.m. to really about midnight. The farther west you are, the earlier you'll be able to see storms. The farther east you are, the later it's going to be. The app, again, was Ohio News and Weather. So, again, that timing, 1 p.m. to about midnight. This timing-wise could change depending on if we get earlier development. If the earlier development doesn't happen and we see just the cells that form in Indiana, they do look to approach the I-75 area. So that would be Findlay, Lima, Dayton, places like that, around 5 or 6 o'clock or so. And then they continue to move east from there. No real signs that they'll weaken before they're out of our area. So they'll likely last a little while and go through most of the night. But again, they will eventually exit our area. That threat continues well beyond our area. It continues south of the area as well. And even if you don't see a tornado, again, the damaging wind threat and hail threat is also very high as well. So even if you don't see a tornado, large hail damaging winds are also going to cause problems with any of the storms that do roll through. So let's see. Let's go ahead and go back to the radar now and take a look at what we've got going on there right now. Let's see. Someone asking about kind of what's going on during school pickup. Any instructions for that? A lot of that, it's going to be up to the schools. I know schools in the past have chosen to hold students inside until the storm's passed, just so they're safe. That comes kind of down to you want to be in a building versus a car. If you're picking up your kids, there's a good chance you're going to end up in the car while that's coming through. So a lot of that will also be up to the schools. But if you are picking up your kids from school and you do happen to get that alert, you kind of see that storm coming, your best bet is just to go into the school and wait it out. I can't imagine the school's going to turn you away. So your best bet, if you know it's coming, is just head into the school and hang out in there until they pass. Another point, someone asked if these will be fast-moving storms. Let's take a look. I believe the answer to that is yes. I'm going to pull up a different site here so we can take a look at a few other things. And this site is not working at the moment. So that's pretty cool. There we go. All right. So what we can look at is what are called soundings. So they kind of just give you a better idea of what we're looking at in the atmosphere. So here we go again, tomorrow evening. You still see a similar look on this site. Quite a few individual cells floating around out there. We back it up and kind of take a look at the environment the storms are moving into. It's definitely an environment that's ready to go. You see, and you guys actually cannot see any of this, but now you can. So what we're looking at here is a sounding. So it's kind of a picture of what the atmosphere might look like as these storms are moving in tomorrow. This has a little bit of convective contamination, which is essentially storms have already kind of moved through the area, so it's changed a little bit. But what we really want to pay attention to on this one is the wind profile. So the wind barbs down here are indicating winds out of the southeast, kind of at the surface, south-southeast, and then they veer to southwest and they get much faster as you go up into the atmosphere. That's the wind shear that we're looking at. That also means because winds as you go up in the atmosphere are pretty quick, that does mean the storms themselves will also be moving pretty quickly. So we're looking at, anywhere 50, 60 mile an hour is not out of the question, for speed that these storms will be moving, which is why it's important to have your plan in place by the time these storms hit, because once a warning is issued, you're not going to have a ton of time to get where you're going. So definitely storms moving pretty quick tomorrow. Zanesville, Roseville, heavy rain, maybe some storms tonight, but you are in the threat tomorrow. Probably later tomorrow, probably after 7 or so, unless things change. So you're definitely going to want to keep an eye on things. You are in that level 4 risk. Ross County, Chillicothe area, you're probably looking 5, 6 o'clock or so, maybe earlier if we do get some early day convection. We'll have more on timing tomorrow. Let's see. Lima, Marion, Franklin County. Lima, you're going to be a little bit earlier, probably around 4 or 5. Franklin County, the Marion area, you're going to be a little bit later, probably 6 or 7. Let's see. Let's do this. This might be easier. You guys are asking so fast. Let's go here. So we'll zoom in. We'll go from north to south. We're going to turn the current radar off. For the record, those of you south of Mansfield, south of Worcester, there is a special weather statement for the storm that is moving through right now. Hail just under an inch and winds up to 40 mile an hour. So those of you, Millersburg, Berlin, Ludenville, Fredericktown, those areas, you are seeing a storm moving through right now that is producing 3/4 inch hail and some gusty winds. So just a heads up on that. So storms initially will develop in this area here and move off to the east. So this is where realistically 1, 2, maybe 3 o'clock or so, you've got storms approaching Fort Wayne, east of Kokomo, Indianapolis, moving in to some of these other areas. If I can get this to cooperate. So once you get past the 3, 4, 5 time frame, you then begin to approach the I-75 corridor. And this is where 4, 5, 6 o'clock, these storms anywhere from Findlay, Lima, Salina, Piqua, Dayton, Richmond, Hamilton, down to Cincinnati. That's going to be about the best time frame for these storms to be working in to your areas. Beyond that, you then move to central Ohio, so basically a line from Sandusky to Mansfield, Delaware, down to Columbus, Mount Sterling, Chillicothe, Waverly, Portsmouth. You guys are looking realistically probably 6, 7, 8 o'clock or so. And the reason we have to give kind of several hour windows are because development, what time the storms develop is not for certain. This is PM tomorrow, by the way. So this is tomorrow afternoon and evening. And then moving, from 9 to about midnight or so, Cleveland, Akron, New Philadelphia, Zanesville, Parkersburg, Belpre, down to Gallipolis, Huntington, anywhere from really about 9 to midnight or so, those storms are going to be moving through your area. It remains to be seen kind of how they look by then, but there is enough evidence to suggest that they still will be pretty strong as they do roll through there. For those of you up here in West Virginia, I did see somebody ask about Tyler County. For you, you're looking really probably about 9, 10 p.m. or so. Ashtabula, your threat is it's pretty low compared to the rest of the state, just because you're likely going to end up north of the warm front, which will likely be down in this area somewhere. So north of the warm front, so areas like Toledo, Cleveland, Ashtabula, your threat of storms still exists, but it does have less tornado chance. It would likely be some damaging winds and maybe some hail. The tornado threat significantly lower, the farther north in Ohio that you go. I did see somebody ask how strong we think they'll be as they come into Ohio. And that depends on where they develop. General consensus among the models is they'll develop out here kind of central Indiana, maybe western Indiana. If that's the case, that gives them plenty of time to mature and do whatever they're going to do, uh, before they get into Ohio. So there's a good chance they'll be established by the time they begin to move into the state. I did see somebody ask about Holmes County, as they live somewhere with no basement. So Holmes County, you're looking at really the later part of the evening, so probably 8 and 9 or so, unless there's some earlier development. But your main threat will be a little bit later in the evening as well. The chance of tornadoes is fairly high tomorrow. Like I mentioned, all of the ingredients are there for some significant tornadoes. The possibility of tornadoes EF2 plus, which are considered strong tornadoes. That possibility is there, along with the possibility of long track tornadoes as well. Mercer County, you're likely looking 4 or 5 o'clock or so for things to get going for you. Really kind of same for the Wapakoneta area. St. Mary's for overnight. Other than some heavy rain, likely not much going on for you. Clark County, you're likely looking 5, 6, 7 o'clock or so as well. Again, basically, if you're, let's see, realistically, if you are west of that line, your threat begins about potentially as early as 1 o'clock and goes likely through about 7 or 8 o'clock. If you are east of that line, and we do actually have a thunderstorm warning now while we're here, if you're east of this line, your threat tomorrow is likely 7 o'clock and after. Again, if we do see any earlier development, those times could change, but that'll be mostly a game time decision and something we'll have to watch through the afternoon. Real quick, let's go ahead and take a look at that thunderstorm warning since we are here. We'll pop on the Cleveland radar here. Maybe. We'll try. That is not the Cleveland radar. All right, well, I guess we'll not do that. We'll do it this way. So here we are. Your thunderstorm warning out here near Loudonville. So that's near Mohican State Park. And I'm going to have to restart my program because I can't click anything. So let me do that real quick. And then we'll actually talk about that warning. There we go. Now we can do stuff. Okay. So we'll zoom in here. This warning does include Millersburg, Berlin, Walnut Creek, Sugar Creek, Kilduck, Holmesville, Glenmont, Nashville, Winesburg, Farmerstown, Mount Hope, and Charm. So 1 inch hail, not much wind really to speak of with the storm. So this is a warning for hail that goes until 10:45 this evening. So if you're in the path of that, definitely make sure you are prepared for a little bit of hail. We did see the special weather statement issued for that same storm a little while ago. It has continued to strengthen and show decent signs of dropping some severe hail that'll do a little bit of damage. So if you're in these areas, definitely make sure you are prepared for that. The good news is There's no signs of rotation or anything like that. So this is purely just a storm that has hail potential and not really much else going for it. Elsewhere across the area, we'll flip that off, flip this on. Still some storms, mostly pretty spotty, nothing severe at the moment. Little storm developing north of Chillicothe. Again, we've got our severe storm over here west of New Philadelphia. And then we've got scattered showers and storms for the rest of the area. And for tonight and overnight, this is really the area we're watching. So from Indianapolis down through St. Louis and really coming into Missouri. And you do see it looks like one of these storms down here did manage to produce a tornado. But this whole area here is what's heading our direction for overnight. Again, we do have a chance of damaging winds, hail, and an isolated tornado or so. Particularly far southwest Ohio. We can pop the outlook back on. So really, anywhere in this green, yellow, or orange area, you have the chance for a few severe storms. The farther southwest you go, the better your chance. But this will not be the main event. Tomorrow, Tuesday, will be the main event. So, let's see. Check for a few more questions here before we wrap up. There will be likely a period of sun and calm weather before, get rid of some of this stuff, before the main event gets going. So if we're going through tomorrow afternoon, you see, hey, the sun came out. So, why be worried? Keep in mind, the sun just helps add energy to the atmosphere, which ultimately leads to stronger storms. The next outlook, somebody did ask, the next outlook releases around 2 a.m. tonight from the Storm Prediction Center. So we'll have that posted once it comes out as well. That line that I drew earlier, which is pretty much this line right here. So fortunately, when I zoom in, that line does not stay where it belongs. So we'll do it this way. From about Sandusky down to Willard, you've got Shelby, near Mansfield, Bucyrus, Edison, Westerville, Columbus, Asheville, Circleville, Kingston, Chillicothe, Waverly, Lucasville, Portsmouth. So that line, basically from north to south, which will be pretty much this line. West of that line, your best threat is going to be likely around and before 7 p.m., starting as early as 1 p.m., depending on what time things start to develop. If you are east of that line or to the right of that line, likely from 7 p.m. to about midnight or so is going to be your best threat for severe weather. So most of the state is going to be impacted by storms tomorrow. So again, we want to reiterate, it's important to know where you are on a map. Just about our entire team will be ready to go for anything that may happen overnight tonight, and then through the day tomorrow. Our team's ready to go. I myself will be out likely chasing, helping relay reports to the National Weather Service, some of the local media as well. So, as well as our team here. So, there will likely be the rest of our team handling live coverage for tomorrow. There is, like I mentioned, still some questions on kind of what time things really develop and how much sun we see after the morning round moves out. Uh, as far as where I'm chasing tomorrow, I will likely be uh, somewhere near the Dayton area. I might start off in eastern Indiana, depending on what time things work out, but I will basically be following everything to the east. Up until you get into eastern Ohio, where the terrain is less favorable for being able to actually see anything, uh, and it starts to get dark. Uh, it'll be challenging. Again, the storms tomorrow are going to be moving very quickly, so once you get that warning, uh, make sure you're prepared because you aren't going to have a ton of time to get where you need to go. Uh, for those asking if it's possible this weekend, it's always possible. That's not something we want to bank on, but it is possible. It's also possible that things increase as we go through the day tomorrow. So that a lot of that's going to depend on how much sun we see after the first round of storms goes through in the morning. Let's see. Allen County tonight. Tonight you're looking at mostly heavy rain. There is a outside chance of a severe thunderstorm, damaging wind and hail. But for the most part, you should be able to go ahead and go to bed. If you need to, just make sure you have a way to get alerts. Should one be issued. Sorry about that. My dog she really wants some attention. Let's see. A couple other. So Wetzel County, West Virginia. You're likely looking after 7 p.m. tomorrow. So likely 8-9 p.m. or so be the best chance for you. Again, depends on exactly what time things do start to develop. So you'll want to make sure you stay with us tonight and through the day tomorrow, because we will have the most updated information for you. For those of you in Springfield, I know especially a lot of areas in the Miami Valley have been hit hard already this year, so the Springfield area, you're likely between about 4 and 7 p.m. tomorrow. The Salina area, you are likely around 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow. Anywhere between about 3 and 5, really. Again, if we see the system slow down a little bit, that would make development a little bit later. So these timings all could adjust by a couple hours either direction. So make sure, that's why we kind of stress 1 p.m. to about midnight for the entire area. And this is PM tomorrow. So 1 p.m. the farther west, near the Ohio-Indiana border you are. Midnight, the farther east you are. So, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, those areas. North or south of I-70 from Zanesville? Both. Both north and south will likely see storms tomorrow. Somebody mentioned schools dismissing early. That's not shocking. I think it's a tough call, but I'm not shocked that some schools are dismissing early. Depending on what time they're dismissing, they'll likely be, have everyone where they need to be before things potentially get going tomorrow. Meigs County, Vinton County, you guys are likely a little bit later tomorrow, probably 7 p.m. and after. Sandusky County, your threat is a little bit lower. You'll likely be north of that warm front, but it would likely be around anywhere from about 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. The Troy area tonight, likely, there's a chance for a few stronger storms, but likely a lot of heavy rains, lightning, thunder. Best time, likely after 3 a.m. Okay, so it is about time to go ahead and wrap this up. I apologize if I can't answer everybody's questions. I do appreciate all of you being here and getting this information. There's just so many of you, it's really hard to try to get to everybody, but stay tuned through the day. Tonight, tomorrow, we'll have updated information as we go along. Again, tonight, there is still a threat of severe weather, primarily, realistically, from about Columbus southwest. Best chances near Cincinnati and the Ohio River. But the main threat is tomorrow afternoon. If someone asks, is the main threat tonight or tomorrow? There is a threat tonight, but it is a lower threat compared to what we're going to see tomorrow afternoon. Come here. For those of you that are interested in the dog, because I do see you. Come here. Come here. Here she is. Sort of. So, with that, stay tuned. Make sure you're all... Again, you have ways to get watches and warnings. All of that stuff tonight and especially tomorrow. Check back in. We will have... several more updates when the new Storm Prediction Center outlook comes out overnight. Of course, we'll have team coverage all through the day tomorrow. So, again, the main timing between 1 p.m., the farther west, near kind of the Ohio-Indiana border you are, to about midnight as you approach, Pennsylvania, the West Virginia Panhandle. The storms are basically just going to cross the state as we go through the days. So, someone asked if you're out planting corn and the storm hits, is a red or green tractor safer? I'd like to say red just because that's my favorite color, but the real answer is going to be neither. Mother Nature don't care about your tractor. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I do appreciate you all being here. Make sure you have ways to get your warnings overnight. Make sure you charge all of your devices. You know where to go should a tornado warning be issued tomorrow. We'll be back with plenty more coverage as we go through the night tonight, the day tomorrow, all of that stuff. We're here to kind of keep you guys safe, keep you informed, let you know what's going on. And that's what we're going to continue to do. So, again, I appreciate you all being here. That dog has moved the camera. She's bye. Nice seeing you guys. I appreciate you all being here, sticking with me. I hope you all stay safe tonight, stay safe tomorrow, stay with us for the latest. I'll try to get a map out at some point with more timing. So, something that you can kind of keep with you to have a better idea of when things may hit your area. So I hope you all have a great night, and we will likely see you during the day tomorrow.